Stay weather aware. This is what we're going to be dealing with down off towards the south. But again, we have the snow across the Midwest, and this could be dangerous as well. So you don't want to be on the roadways for severe weather. You don't want to be on the roadways when you're talking about this type of snow blowing around. You lose visibility, reduce visibility out there. So again, blizzard conditions are on tap, and we actually do have blizzard warnings. So that means officially some areas we will be dealing with that blizzard. This is what we have right now. Juliet, some heavier snow coming in across the area. Temperature right at freezing at this point. As we head over towards Rockford, more of the same. That snow pretty steady at this point. So if you are going to be out and about, you really do, because some of you have to get out there. You have to put a lot of distance between you and the vehicle in front of you. Just slow down. That is definitely key. Remember, when you look at speed limits, those are for conditions, and so you are not going to want to do the speed limit in these type of conditions. We look around Naperville as we continue through the rest of today. This morning we have the winds just blowing and getting stronger as the day goes on. So about 30 to 35 mile an hour winds before it's all said and done. Look at DeKalb back there. We had that 30 to 40 miles an hour, and Rockford coming in about 20 to 25 as we go in through the evening. So these numbers will come down a little bit, but still 20 to 25 mile an hour winds, nothing to shake a stick at for sure. As we go in through your Saturday, still dealing with that snow coming in. It's not going to be as heavy, but still there. And even once the snow starts to wind down a little bit, we're still dealing with the wind. So we could be dealing with a ground blizzard, right? You don't necessarily need the snow falling from the sky for a blizzard. It just whips it up and causes reduced visibility once again. We're going to add up in the purples. So yeah, we could see up to a foot, possibly maybe even more in some spots, Steph, before it's all said and done.
Damaging wind gusts and fierce waves lash.
Back to America's Morning headquarters, and we are talking some cold conditions behind Jerry. So yes, we have the snow, we have severe thunderstorms for today, but next week, yeah, we're looking at the population with highs below average. On your today, 95 million people below average, and by the time we hit next Tuesday, close to 250 million people will be below average. So yeah, we are definitely going to be sharing the love, so to speak, in terms of the cold. So right now we are about 12 degrees below zero in Bismarck. So these are your actual temperatures. Contrast this with 52 in Nashville. Yes, that feels so good, right? But you know what? The cold air is really going to drop down off towards the south as well. So everybody's really going to feel a difference before it's all said and done. In terms of the high temperatures as we continue through the rest of today, your highs in Bismarck 3 below. So it is going to be very cold out there. But again, the weather is relative, because that 3 below is going to be on Sunday 8 below. And again, these are just the temperatures. We haven't even thrown in the winds yet. And when you talk about wind chill, that's what you really do need to dress for. But if we don't have the winds, then you definitely need to dress for that 8 in Bismarck. Billings coming in 6 below. This is what we have, your record cold highs as we go into Sunday. Coldest maximum temperatures. So we pick out Oklahoma City. We're looking at that record set back in 1905. 12 degrees, the forecast 14. So we will be flirting with the records as we go in through time. But look at Sioux City. Yeah, that record set back in 1979, looking at 5 below. We're forecasting 8 below zero before it's all said and done. So here are your low temperatures on your Monday morning. So when you're waking up, it is going to be very cold out there, and around Billings about 18 degrees below. Let's head over towards the northeast, right? Pittsburgh, yeah, it's cold, 12 degrees there, so you're going to have to bundle up no matter where you are. But once you start getting in the below zero numbers, that's where it becomes a little bit more on the dangerous side of things. So if you are going to be out and about, you're going to be even just driving to work or just driving to the store, make sure you do have warm blankets in the car, because again, you could break down. Unfortunately, not wishing that on anybody, but it is a possibility, and you want to stay safe and warm. Look at the wind chill advisories. We have this from Butte down off towards Kansas City here. Actually, these are wind chill warnings, dark in the dark blue here. So again, from Butte to Kansas City. And then we look at the wind chill advisories, and we also have wind chill watches. So these winter weather warnings, Steph, they really do mean business.
That they do. So
have to be mindful of what's going on for today in the atmosphere. It is coming for us because we are talking about severe weather. Let's go ahead and time it out for you as we continue to watch winds for today. Be 75 miles an hour or greater in this area here. So you can see the dark blue. We're looking at around Starkville. We're looking around Columbus this morning as well as we go in through the afternoon. More of the same around Tupelo. Remember, when you're talking about thunderstorm winds being severe, 50 58-mile-an-hour winds, and we could see higher than that as we go in through time today. That is a possibility. We start to time it out. We start to see more of the reds and the yellows, right? These are going to start to develop, and with that, these thunderstorms moving through the area early this morning. We'll see this. You can start to see that line kind of congeal, stretch out a little bit as we go towards 9 o'clock, coming in around Houston at this point, headed over towards Starkville, crossing over around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Good news is after that, it looks to be on the drier side of things. We could see a few spotty showers still lingering around Houston, but much improved compared to earlier in the morning. As we move towards Birmingham, Montgomery, we're looking at 3s. We have some 2s out there. It's a lower end, but we're still dealing with the possibility for some tornadoes. And remember, we've had 3s and 2s before, and we've had tornadoes develop. Watch this start to move in around Birmingham as we go towards about 8 o'clock. We're looking at this around Alexander City. Montgomery, you should still be okay for a bit. And then as we head towards about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, things start to fill in. Once again, we start to get that line already moved through Tuscaloosa, headed off towards Birmingham as well. And Montgomery, you're going to be next in line as we head towards about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. This moves through. So this is something in Birmingham that we'll see early this morning and then also in the afternoon. So we just have to stay weather aware through much of the day. Let's head over towards the Atlanta metro because we can see the interstates are going to be a little rough. They're rough on a good day when the sun's out. But yeah, when we're starting to see the rain and the thunderstorm and the possibility for some of these strong thunderstorms to move through, 285, 575, 75. You pick that interstate. You do not want to be on it as we go into the afternoon, especially as we can see some of those thunderstorms, Jordan.
All right, Lynette, we're going to get everybody caught up on what we know this hour. Now that we watch this whole system, Lynette, kind of impact Chicago, impact the Midwest, what happens as it works its way to the Northeast?
So we're going to talk about more rain coming in across the area. Already do have some flood watches up, and they do not need any more rain, Jordan. Let's talk about what's going on here as we do have the potential for some flooding, right? So this is why we do have the flood watches. Right through your tomorrow, we're looking Charlottesville on up towards Boston, Springfield, Hartford, Providence. You are all in on this as we continue through your tomorrow. Reason being is that we've been dealing with so much rain over the past 7 days, and then we could do it all over again with Jerry as well. So we look at the yellows here. We're looking at about 3 to 5 inches of rain over the past 7 days. That is a lot of rain. We do not need any more rain across the area, but unfortunately, we have more rain on the way. So through tomorrow, we could see up to about 1 to 2 inches in the darker green. So again, the same spots where you saw the yellows, about 3 to 5 inches, we're going to add 1 to 2 more inches on top of that. So Boston, we're looking at this around Hartford, down off towards Philly, and then most of us will see up to an inch. But again, you're thinking, oh, an inch is not too bad. No, on already saturated ground, we don't need that. And remember, we're still talking about windy conditions across the Northeast as well. So we had power outages, and I think the power is still out in some spots. And then we're going to have more on top of that, unfortunately. And even if you just got your power back, it's going to go back out as we will have those trees down on the power lines. So through tomorrow, we have the flash flooding, and it is more likely as we look at the green, the dark green colors. So D.C., you're in on that again, up towards Boston. Just the areas where we've already been really saturated is going to be, I should say, are going to be much worse. Look at this. So then we talk about the rivers, and we can see the purple here. So this is a river that is in major flood stage at this point, and we can see some of the rivers here, moderate and also minor down off towards Richmond. So this is something that we're going to continue to watch. But let's go back out to Jim Cantori. Jim, your streets are not snow covered quite yet, though.
Oh, it's
miserable.
This makes the parade a breeze.
Looks balmy compared to what's coming.
Exactly.
My goodness. Parade this weekend for all you Wolverine fans out there. Shout out to you winning the national championship. That's so exciting. Obviously, conditions are going to be a little winter-like, but I don't think that's going to stop anybody.
No, just bundle up. You know, you'll have fun. It's going to be exciting.
Have a great time. Are you kidding me? It's going to be such a party.
It is. No, I don't know if you're going to have a good time if you're in the stands for this game, because this game we are going to feel, and this is what you need to dress for, 23 below.
You know how we always get those fans that are like shirtless?
Yes.
Do you think we're going to see that at this game?
I do.
I'm telling you, you guys got to be careful.
Yes,
have that jacket because exposed skin, it could frostbite in conditions this cold. Not as cold as that Packers game and Cowboys. That was the ice box back in Lambeau in 1967. But this is going to be one of the colder games that we've actually played in the NFL, and some of the coldest games that maybe any team has ever played.
Exactly. And we could see a low-scoring game because of that.
Right. So Miami has never played in a colder game.
No.
And then, of course, Mahomes has never played in a colder game like this. So it'll be interesting to see how these teams do.
If I was Tua, I'd be like, I can't play.
Like, I'm just gonna imagine catching the ball as a receiver with that cold. I mean, your fingers.
Agreed.
This is another cold one. I think this is going to be a good game with Steelers taking on Buffalo.
Buffalo's going to win.
You think?
Dealing with some dangerous weather down off towards the south, headed towards the mid-Atlantic, but we're also going to be dealing with some dangerous weather to the north, and we're dealing with some snow. You can see some of the pinks here. That's that blizzard warning. So we're talking about winds sustained or gusting about 35 miles an hour, and also reduced visibility a quarter mile or less, and all this happening from the blowing snow for at least 3 hours. That's why you had the blizzard warning around Sioux Falls, around Des Moines, Davenport. We're seeing this around Green Bay, Alpena as well. So with that said, we will have some places possibly like Omaha. So we could see conditions like that, but not necessarily the textbook coming in. But when it all comes down to it, do we really need the textbook? If it looks like that, if it acts like a duck, it's a duck, right? And this is what we're going to be dealing with as we go through the rest of today. The rest of your tomorrow, we will continue to add up the snowfall totals here. We can see over a foot in some spots out there where you're seeing some of the darker purples, up to a foot and some of the lighter purples here. And again, not too shabby when you're looking about 3 to 5 inches of snow as well. So this is going to be a good footprint for all of you that love the snow. This is going to be a good time for you. What you probably don't want is the fact that we are going to be dealing with plenty of wind coming in. So we will have that blowing snow, which really affects visibility and makes things dangerous out there. So again, if you don't have to go out, just stay home. Hopefully you're able to work from home so you don't have to get on the roadways, because it is a rough go of it. We can see what's happening right now. We pick out Fort Dodge. We can see the gusts up to about 22 miles an hour right now. Look at Kansas City dealing with some snow, but also those gusts up to about 30. And even around Chicago, we have those gusts about 23. Jim Cantori's there. Speaking of Jim Cantori, let's head out to Jim right now. Jim, take it away.
About the cold side of this system, because we've got our own set of problems up to the north, even in the South Plains. Do you think we're going to see frozen pipes yet again in places like Texas, Oklahoma?
I do. As we see this continue to spread. So by Tuesday, 250 million people are going to be under this cold Arctic air, right? And this is going to be the name of the game as we go through time. And then we're going to throw in the winds as well, and it's going to feel a lot colder out there. Let's talk about the actual temperatures right now, though, because now in Bismarck, we're about 12 degrees below. You can actually see the warmer air, or feel the warmer air down off towards the south. I'm showing you the temperatures right now so you can see the difference. But you know what? We will start to see some changes down off towards Nashville. You're not going to stay in those 50s. Yeah, that colder air will be working as we go through time. So by the time we hit your Sunday, yeah, Nashville, you're looking at 26 degrees now. So yeah, you're going to have to bundle up out there as well. We're going to be watching and flirting with record highs in terms of these cold max high temperatures. So we can see Wichita forecasting 4. The record was 7 set back in 1979. So yeah, you get that picture. It is going to be very cold, in fact, enough to where it's going to be dangerously cold out there. As we go into your Monday, again, much of the nation in the purples and also in the blues as well. And again, we do have some alerts out there. Let's send you live now into Chicago. We'll wait for that sunshine to come out. But unfortunately, yes, our forecast is verifying at this point, as we have been dealing with the tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings this morning, and that's going to continue as we go into the afternoon, unfortunately. So we do have to watch out for the threat for damaging winds for today. Now, again, 58-mile-an-hour winds, that's what we're talking when we talk about severe thunderstorm winds. But today, yeah, we could see 75 miles an hour or greater with that wind threat, and it is likely where you're seeing those dark blue colors there. Let's go ahead and time this out for you. When are we going to continue to watch these thunderstorms and the strongest severe thunderstorms move through the area? So again, as we go towards about 8 o'clock, again, remember this is Central Time. We're looking at this around Starkville. We can see this back off towards Winona, Tupelo. You're going to be in on this as well, Houston. And again, you can kind of see the individual cells, but then look at that line start to get its act together and start to push on off towards the east. So moving through Starkville at about 11 o'clock, and behind that, that's when things will start to dry out. So calm down, and that's what we're all looking forward to. But before that happens, you know, we're already in this atmosphere that can produce tornadoes. We're seeing it already this morning. We do have a Torcon of 3 for Birmingham, for Montgomery. We're also looking at this around Prattville, Alexander City, 2. Yes, we're on the low scale, but again, we already are seeing them, so we could see more as the morning goes on into the afternoon. Timing it out for Birmingham, we are dealing with some heavier rain across the area around 8 o'clock, but then as we go into 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, that's when things really start to get rocking and rolling with those strong to severe thunderstorms, again, moving through Tuscaloosa, heading towards Birmingham. This will linger into the afternoon as well, so you're really not clear clear until about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. So rush hour, that's when things will start to be a bit drier for you and much more calm. As we go to the Atlanta metro, we can see some shower activity happening around 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock. But by the afternoon, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, into dinner time, 5 o'clock, if you eat early like I do, then yes, you will be watching for some of those thunderstorms bubbling up, and then finally things will start to calm down. But Jordan, yes, we have some active weather this morning, and we have it this afternoon as well. So tell us what we know.
Okay, well, what we do
from the sky to deal with the blizzard conditions, that's what we're going to be working with. We're also going to be dealing with some winds across the northeast, but before that, yeah, we're going to be dealing again heavy rain, so we do have the potential for flooding. We do have the flood watches up, Boston down off towards Charlottesville, D.C., Baltimore, you're in on this as well. The rain to come right through your tomorrow, we're looking at about 1 to 2 inches. We've already seen so much rain in some spots, 3 to 5 inches already over the past 7 days, but 1 to 2 inches more around Boston, Hartford. We're looking at this around New York and Philly, up to an inch in other spots. And because of that, the flash flooding is there right through tomorrow morning. So it is going to be a rough go of it once again. The ground is saturated, the soil is saturated. We have the winds that will be in here as well. And again, we had the power outages. So I think if you got your power on, it could be going back out again. Unfortunately, we're watching for the rivers that continue to go out of their banks as we continue for that forecast that looks like that because of the fact that we do have more rain that's on the way. This is what it looks like with those wind alerts. We do have high wind warnings going on in the purple, so around Buffalo, Erie. We're looking at this back off towards West Virginia and Elkins, I should say, around Charleston as well. So we're talking winds gusting up to about 60 miles an hour and sustained winds about 20 to 30 miles an hour. It is definitely going to be a rough go of it. Let's talk about the winds a little bit more, put this into motion as we go throughout the day. We start to see those winds. Look at this, Columbus, 40 to 50 mile an hour winds there. Pittsburgh, you're coming in at 30 to 35 to 40 miles an hour winds. We're seeing this on your Saturday overnight. So yeah, those winds are going to howl. They're going to wake you up. Not dealing with any type of severe weather, but it looks like you will be woken as we can see this in Buffalo. Also around Albany, this continues to work its way on off to the north and east before it's all said and done. 9 o'clock on Saturday morning in Bangor, winds about 35 to 40 miles an hour. So it will continue right in through the weekend. Make sure you keep it tuned to the Weather Channel so we can keep you safe. We'll be back. About some dangerous weather to the north as well. This is exactly what we have. Winter alerts, and this goes right through tomorrow. Lots of colors on the map. You look at the pink, yeah, that's pretty, but blizzard warnings, nothing to be toyed with. We have winter weather advisories, and we have winter storm warnings as well. So what does all this mean? In a nutshell, you should not be driving in any of this because travel is going to be difficult, and it is not advisable where you're dealing with those blizzard warnings out there because you have that drifting, blowing snow. Visibility is on the lower side of things, and you can't see right in front of your face. You're talking about white out conditions. So snow still to come right through your tomorrow. We're looking at about 12 to 18 inches. Milwaukee, you could be picking up in on this as well. Possibly 8 to 12 around Chicago. And then elsewhere, really still not too shabby. We're looking at possibly 3 to 5 in the dark teal there. So Des Moines, you could be coming in on this as well. It looks pretty good if you are a lover of snow. That is for sure. Now, in terms of the road conditions, this is where it's like, boo, we don't want this because it's going to be very difficult to get around if you have to get around. That's the key word, have to. This is what we have. So when you're looking at the pink coloring, you look at the legend, that means that it's covered. So we're talking about snow-covered roads over towards Des Moines. We're looking at this around Omaha as well. A bit clearer as you go down off towards the south around Kansas where you're seeing some of the greens there. But all in all, we are looking at this snow falling across the area. And speaking of the snow falling across the area, let's head out to Jim Cantori, where he is in Chicago, and it's a good clip right now.
Situation this morning at all, Lynette?
It's not, and we have the severe weather south. We do have some nasty weather where we shouldn't be driving up to the north as well. Yeah, and we're going to see some cold conditions as we go right into next week, guys. So that Arctic air is going to be upon us. We're already starting to feel it for you today. 95 million people below average, 175 on your Sunday, and then the numbers just continue to go up. And this is just your temperatures. We haven't even thrown in the winds. Unfortunately, and now if you're not a fan of the cold, yeah, if you're in Billings, we're looking at 13 degrees below zero, but we actually can see the cold air trapped up to the north, and look where the warmer air is. 52 in Nashville. Oh, that's a breeze. That's a gem, right? Compared to what we're seeing across the north. But you know what? What stays north is not necessarily going to stay there. It's going to come down off towards the west. So what we have north not going to stay there. It's going to come down off towards the south, I should say. And we're going to continue with it back off towards the west, moving to the east. We can see this on your Sunday. So we're looking at Bismarck. We're looking at 8 below and Pierre as well. And then look at Green Bay. Yeah, that's cold, 8. But again, the weather is relative, and that 8 not feeling as bad as those negative numbers. But again, cold is cold, and you're going to need to bundle up. We just start to get into where it's dangerously cold, and that's when we talk about those wind chills that will be upon us too. We look at some of the record cold highs as we go into Sunday, and we will flirt with the record temperatures. So we look at Wichita, Kansas, the record set back in 1979, 7 degrees there. We're forecasting about 4 degrees. So you get the picture. Yeah, these temperatures are not to be played with. Seriously, again, they are going to be dangerously cold out there, but we're starting to see those colors, those purples starting to sag a little bit further off to the south now. So where you were in Nashville, yeah, look at that, 19 degrees as we go in through your Monday morning. So it is going to be quite cold out there. We do have the wind chill alerts, so wind chill advisories. We have the wind chill warnings. Look at this in the dark colored blues here. So across the plains, we're going to start to see this move on off towards the east as well. So before it's all said and done, 47 degrees below zero. Again, this is when we're talking about some very dangerous conditions. And speaking of dangerous conditions, let's get back over to Jordan with some to stay weather aware for today with that severe weather. And, you know, this is the type of weather where, you know, we don't want our forecast to come to fruition. And this is exactly what's happening this morning. It's going to continue as we go into the afternoon. And we are definitely going to be here to continue to try to keep you safe out there, because we are going to be watching for 75-mile-an-hour or greater wind threat. The area here shaded in this blue coloring, it is likely that we'll see that. For a thunderstorm to become severe, we need about 58-mile-an-hour wind, and we could go higher than that as we go through the rest of today. So take that into consideration. And remember, those are your straight line winds that we're talking about, but we also do have the twisting winds and the tornadic winds, and this is what Steph was just talking about in terms of having those tornado warnings already out there this morning. We will have more, unfortunately, as we go into the afternoon. This is what we're working with. Again, we're going to continue to watch what's happening around Tupelo, around Starkville. This line really gets together and moves through as we head towards about 10 o'clock. By that time, we will be out of the woods. This is some good news. By the time we hit lunchtime, the afternoon will be much drier around Starkville, more quiet, in fact. But then we look at the Torcon for today for around Birmingham and Montgomery. When there's a number, there's a risk. Even if you're like Lynette, there's only a 2, it's only a 3. There's been plenty of tornadoes that happen with Torcons of 2s and 3s. We timed this out for you, and we can see that the wet weather comes around Birmingham. This morning already, we're seeing that. But what really gets rocking and rolling as we head more towards about 11 o'clock around lunchtime, we can start to see some of those individual cells. And yes, some of those could be those supercells. And those supercells, yeah, going to put down those tornadoes. That is a possibility. So I urge you to know already where you're going to go if there is a tornado warning. We will start to possibly maybe even see this around the Atlanta metro area as we go more towards the afternoon time frame here. So possibly around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, we could see this. Again, some heavy rain will be in this as well. We're looking at this around Kennesaw, 4 o'clock, and possibly even 5 o'clock, lingering into about 6. And then finally, Jordan, we start to dry things out.
All right, well, the nation today.
Yeah, and it just keeps them pushing on off towards the east. You know, places that don't need it. The northeast, there's such that I-95 corridor, they can't get the snow to save their lives. So more rain is in the forecast, unfortunately, for them. Let's talk about what's been happening over the past 7 days. Yes, lots of rain leading to flood watches. This will go up through your tomorrow. And remember, we're going to have more on top of it as we go through the rest of today into your tomorrow. So still to come through tomorrow, look at all the rain. Now, remember, we received in pockets up to about 3 to 5 inches of rain so far in some of these areas that are going to get on top of it 1 to 2 more inches, 2 more inches of rain. So Boston, you're one of those places. Hartford, New York, Philly, down off towards Baltimore. Most of us will see up to about an inch, but that's even too much because, again, we've just been seeing a lot of rain with these storm after storm after storm after storm. Did I do 4? Yeah, we have 4. We've talked about Heather, but we have Heather back off towards towards the west as well. So here we go, flash flooding right through tomorrow. It is going to be more likely where you're going to see the darker greens, and of course the same cities that I just talked about. We're looking at the rivers out of their banks, and that is now we're looking at minor, moderate, major, and then we're forecasting that. And look how many more triangles come up with this forecast. Again, more rain equals more flooding, those rivers out of their banks. Now let's talk about the wind side, shall we? As we do have high wind warnings around Buffalo, back down off towards Pittsburgh, Elkins, and West Virginia. We're seeing this as well. And even Baltimore, you're under those wind advisories. So we are definitely going to be talking about those winds gusting up to about 60 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour. And speaking of the winds, let's head over to Steph because she has tornado warning. I can't wait for that stable air. But in the meantime, yes, we're dangerous down to the south and we're dangerous up to the north as well, as we do have all these winter weather alerts going on. So whether you're under the blizzard warning, the winter weather advisory, or the winter storm warning, you need to stay off the roadways. Travel is going to be so difficult, impassable with the blizzard warnings out there. It's just going to be slick and dangerous. So if you can just stay home and just watch the Weather Channel, because we're here to keep you safe and keep you updated, we are going to do that for you. And we're going to continue to watch the snow. And you can watch the snow right through tomorrow as well, as this can add up to over a foot in some spots out there. So if you are a snow lover across the Midwest, you are really loving this forecast, as long as you can stay in, right? And as long as you don't have to shovel it, use that snow blower. But as we talk about the dangerous conditions, we do have them, because we do have some covered roadways right here. We're looking at some purples right around Des Moines, and you look at the legend, that means that it is dangerous. We actually do have some impassable roadways out here too. Some of them are in the red coloring. So again, stay off the roads if you can. We're looking at that snow coming down. We're looking at the winds gusting as well, blowing and drifting snow. And this is hence why we do have blizzard conditions out there. Chicago, we're looking at the gusts coming in about 30 miles an hour. And let's head out to Jim Cantori right now. He's in Chicago. Welcome back to America's Morning Headquarters, and we're going to start you out with a look at some very cold temperatures. Some Arctic air is going to be moving in behind Jerry. So for today, we're looking at about 95 million people below average, but look how this really bumps up. By the time we hit Tuesday, close to 250 people below average. So this is what we're dealing with this morning. We can see different colors, right? What color do you want to be in? I wouldn't mind being in that orange color, right? Look at that 66 degrees back off towards Jackson, but no, most of us are going to start to be in that purplish color, the bluish color. Today, our high temperatures 2 below in Bismarck, Pierre coming in 1 below. So some very cold conditions out there before it's all said and done. We have more of the same as we go into Sunday, but more of that air starting to drop down off towards the south. We have to watch for record cold highs. We can set those as we work our way into the weekend as well. Look at Monday morning. Yes, we are going to be cold across much of the nation here. Temperature in Nashville waking up will be right around 19. Let's talk a little bit about football, Steph.